Greetings and good day once again, Doomtubers. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Pokemon X for the Nintendo 3DS. This came out last year, 2013, and came out at a time where I just wasn't interested, and for one reason or another, I don't know why I wasn't interested, but coming off of, hearing great reviews about the game and how good X and Y were, and with the announcement earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year, of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which I did pick up Omega Ruby, I thought it would be time, or it was time, to delve back into the newest game. Even though I had picked this up at the same time where I picked up several other of the Pokemon games that I hadn't played yet, I decided I really wanted to play the latest installment as of picking the game up. So I grabbed it, and let me tell you, I was not disappointed in the slightest. This is a really, really fantastic game. Now, I will jump off the hype train just a little bit and say that, and just kind of reiterate things that a lot of people have said about the X and Y games, that they are extremely easy. Extremely easy. And because of the simplicity, because of how easy it was a very quick pace to it. You didn't spend any time in any one area. I, honest to goodness, could not tell you even the name of one city, save for the big hub city, which you visited several times. I can't tell you the name of any of the other cities in the game because you're just not there very long. And because of this too, there's just a lot of things that, even though they're great, like they look great, sound great, there's a lot of things that are just really forgettable in this game. But that's not to take away from the experience, because the experience was great. It's a great game. But I don't know, it just doesn't have the same didn't have the same impact to me as a lot of the older games in the series. And I know maybe that's just nostalgia talking to me or for me, but I don't know. It just seemed like you had to spend more time and effort in individual towns, and I don't know, you had to revisit several towns, and I don't know. It just seemed to stick with you a little bit better. Whereas this one, you just don't spend any time in any one given place. You're on the move constantly, and with that, I mean, it's a very big map. I don't know if it's any bigger than any of the other games that I've played, but it just seems really big. It's kind of daunting to kind of look at it. Just like, wow, kind of confusing. Like, where do I go? And you have that thought, okay, where do I go? But it really funnels you. The game, because of how easy it is, it really funnels you exactly where you need to be at any given time. You're given an item, right? I think in one of the very first towns, maybe even the first big town that you go to, and they give you an EXP share item, which shares experience with all of your Pokemon. That's one of the big things that people talked about, and it's almost like cheating to use the EXP mode. I used EXP because I wanted to kind of get the experience of this game, and yeah, it's almost like cheating, because really you can just power through the game with one team, and it just, yeah, if you get a really well balanced team, it's just cake. The game is just cake. I will say I was lacking a few things, because there are so many different types of Pokemon now, because the game has evolved so much. There are so many different types that it's hard to kind of keep a team really well rounded by type alone. You really need to also vary the individual Pokemon's move set quite a bit to pick up some of these other pick up some other moves to counteract other types. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but if you know about if you're a Pokemon fan, you'll kind of know what I mean. And because of this, I never had an electric type anything. I never had an electric move or an electric Pokemon in my team. Um, I had a couple electric Pokemon that I had caught, but they were just weak when I caught them, and I didn't want to take the time to level them up. So I did not have an electric type whatsoever. I didn't have a grass type in my team, but I did have a good strong grass type. In one of the earlier towns, you're given once you fight Professor Sycamore, you're given a Kanto starter Pokemon. You know, it might a minor spoiler, but it was just kind of a cool moment, and I picked Bulbasaur because that's how I roll. And so yes, I did have a Venusaur. When all was said and done, but I didn't have him on my party because I had too many other kind of important spots filled. And that's another thing. It's like you're given a lot of Pokemon in this game. You're given a Kanto starter. Spoilerific here. So I'm sorry if this is, um, you know, if you're upset by this, but you're given a Kanto starter. I was given a Lucario who had a Mega Stone, and I was given a Lapras, which I used. Obviously, you're given your starter. It seems like I was given some other Pokemon too, but those are like four. Well, three because I didn't use the Bulbasaur, but the Lucario, the starter, and the Lapras were all in my team. Oh, and you're given one of the fossils of the new fossils for this game, and I honestly I had to look up what the fossils evolved into before choosing because I didn't want to choose the wrong one and have the other one be like a really awesome Pokemon. So I chose I figured like the Jaw fossil I think is what it is, who evolves into I can't remember the lower evolution. That's gonna bother me. I can't remember the lower evolution of it, but it evolves. It eventually evolves into Tyrantrum, which is a dragon, rock type dragon type, who is a boss. And my starter, I chose Froakie, who evolves into Greninja, and I was pleased with that decision because honestly, I thought that the grass type starter was stupid. I mean, I don't know. It grew. It like evolved. Even the third evolution, I thought was stupid. I can't remember the name of it. And then the fire type was okay. It was like fire dual type, fire and psychic, I think. And the grass was actually like grass and fighting, I think is what it was. And psychic fire, and then Froakie was a water dark, which I thought was a good mix because I like dark types and. I'm always a little worried about not having a good water type, but I ended up finishing the game with two water types in my party, so that was cool. Um, my fire type, I used a Talonflame who evolves from Fletchling, which is like the Pidgey of this game, but a lot better in my opinion because it's flying fire type. So you catch it and evolves into something, and then into Talonflame, which is a pretty cool flying fire type. And I had some cool moves. I had Flame Charge, Steel Wing, Brave Bird, and then Fly. I had to have the HM on him because I didn't have a choice. And then I also had, like I said, I had a Lucario, and then I had the this dude. I think it's Xerneas. I think it's Xerneas. I think is how you pronounce that. And it's a legendary, is a fairy type, which is the new type for this game. And fairy types are an interesting thing because they retyped several old Pokemon into fairy types where they weren't before, and obviously a lot of new fairy types as well. And they're really strong against certain types. They're really strong against like psychic types, dark types, dragons, and a few other things. They remind me a lot of psychic types in Gen 1, where they just were really strong. And yeah, it's was always a little bit nerve wracking for me to come up against somebody who had uh, all fairy types. But then I realized, oh yeah, I'm playing Pokemon X. This is freaking easy, and I finished no problems. I did beat the game in about 25 hours. I will say the highlight of the game is most definitely the last bit of the game. Finishing up, getting the 8th badge and traveling to Victory Road, traveling through Victory Road, and then the Elite Four and the champion battle at the end, and then the little story bits at the end were really good. The game finished like I flew through the game. Felt like it didn't feel like 25 hours, but it was. Um, but the last chunk was really definitely the most enjoyable, and I would definitely recommend this game. I know this discussion's kind of a mess. I'm just kind of trying to just touch on several of the different things, because if chances are, if you're watching this video, you at least have a somewhat interest in Pokemon, or if you don't and you're new to Pokemon series, I can definitely recommend this game to you if you are brand spanking new to the series, because it is so forgiving to new players. And that brings up an interesting point, and maybe someone else has talked about this too. As opposed to Pokemon X and Y being the latest sequels, I could argue that these games are almost reboots of sorts. Like, they didn't really reboot anything. They really didn't like tell anything over again, but in a way, each subsequent Pokemon game is kind of a reboot of the last one, because they kind of just take all the mechanics from the previous game and stick them in a new world where they're starting over again with a character who knows nothing about Pokemon, and starts on their journey and gains all the badges. So essentially, I mean, one could argue that every game is a reboot of the last, but I really feel that way with X and Y. I think they were really going for a younger audience here, and a younger, new audience to kind of, bring into the series. And then it makes sense to go back and remake Ruby and Sapphire, because I feel like, and I think I've even heard people talk about this before in the past, where Ruby and Sapphire were kind of that for that generation. Like, the people, my generation of Pokemon fans was Red and Blue and the Gold and Silver, and then they kind of started over and then made the Ruby Sapphire, and then they remade the red and leaf fire red and leaf green, and then they moved on to Diamond and Pearl, which was kind of, I don't know, Diamond and Pearl and Platinum felt way bigger than the other ones. And then I don't know anything about Black and White. Nothing. I know nothing about them. So I'm anxious to get into those as well. But I am totally just babbling. I do apologize if you're watching this video. Pokemon X, I did really like it. The story was very nice. I really enjoyed the story. I think that was one of the highest points for me. Even though it's not like super in depth, it's not the story's not gonna win any awards. I found it to be really charming and really interesting. And like I said in another video, I think I'm interested to see if Y has the same story as this, because I don't know if it does or not, because it kind of pivots around this dude. So I don't know. We'll see. Pokemon X. you're a Pokemon fan, play it. Play it. If you're not a Pokemon fan, this would definitely be a game to play to see what all the hubbub is about. But I can't say that it is my favorite installment. But it is a good game. So there you go. Pokemon X. Thanks for watching. Doom Waves out.